Hi there, hello. So today we are installing the Monitoring Service Edge. Now, what is Monitoring Service Edge? Basically, if you're familiar with AMC, Agent Metric Collector, that appears every time you try to install the OpsBridge Suite in containerized mode, or NOM, I guess. That's the component, right? It's the one that connects to all of the agents on its own with its own mechanism, basically. And it grabs the metrics from the agent and sends it to OPTIC. Now, the difference between the containerized suite that does it anyway and the monitoring service edge that is kind of used for SaaS mostly is that it is the component just separated from everything else, right? So you have the monitoring service edge, which collects data and sends it elsewhere. And today we're going to do just that. Now, I created the monitoring service edge machine. It's on the side here. It's not installed or anything. It's just for the provisioning and everything else. That was the important bit. Okay, and now we will be able to connect to it, right? So first of all, I'm connecting to my jump server. From the jump server, I'm going to connect. Where is the CD command? Control CD. Yes. Now I'll connect to the what it's called to my Bastion node, and from my Bastion node I'll connect to monitoring service edge, right? So it's not exposed to the internet or anything like that, but it is in the network that has access to all of the agents, my private agents in my private environment. So it's going to be my SSH minus I January. Will be CA, I guess, BEM, and then going to be EC2 user at this IP. And this is the monitoring service edge, I believe. Maybe I am wrong, but for some reason, I don't think so. Okay, let's see. Private IP. Oh, okay. I connected to public IP. I need to do the same thing, but to the private IP of the same server. So, yeah, because the public IP wouldn't accept really anything, so we don't need that. We'll grab the private IP, private network, private IPs. Everything is super secure. And there we go. Let's say yes, and we are. Oh, enter passphrase. There is no passphrase. Permission denied. Okay, well, let's do something else. Let's do SSH private instead. We will use January-SSH, and that's going to be it. So right now we are in the monitoring service edge. This is the chart, which also includes all of the installation files. However, there is one small problem. We need to have a lightweight Kubernetes K3s in the system. So let's do just that. Let's start deploying it. Okay, so there it is. Installing. That was it. That was the way to install a Kubernetes, so a lightweight Kubernetes on a machine that has access to the internet. Okay, and in fact, we did it so fast that it did not even boot yet. Okay, so we need to wait for it just a little bit. And once it is up, let's do this. So, Control D, let's connect it once more. And now, let's see, get node, and it doesn't connect. Okay, found the problem. In the past half a year since I wrote the procedure, the no deploy flag in the installation was deprecated, and now it's just minus disable of the same option. So now I ran the get node command, and it worked. So we are continuing. Next thing would be to actually install, well, do some maintenance on the permission level in the OPT directory, which would be used later for the deployment of the edge component. And now we can go to the install directory and basically run the install script. Now it's going to be asking us several things. Of course, end user license agreement, we say true. And then it's going to be asking us some additional questions. I think it's going to be asking us if we want to copy the tools, and we're going to say yes. Let's give it a second. I think this is where it installs those 5 gigabytes of everything, and then it continues with the wizard. So let's give it just 1 second. So we say yes, we want to continue. Okay, and now it's going to ask us a lot of questions somewhere here at the bottom of the screen. Right. Do you want to use namespace? And the namespace that we're going to use, what will it be? Enter the namespace you want to install Edge. It's going to be January. I'm going to be using a custom name, so January. I don't want to use the same one because it creates duplications everywhere I look, so better to have a custom name. So there it goes with the January, and now it will continue deploying. And with the magic of the pause button, we are back into the wizard at the moment. Okay, so let's see. Do you want to use an already existing values YAML file? So I did not create an existing, so it's going to be false. Now, external access host, FQDN, that's going to be this, oh, no, not that one, that one. Yes, public DNS name. We're going to paste it here. External access port is going to be on the default one. External OBM whole name, it's going to be actually the OBM that I own. So the way it works, it connects to my OBM, and it gets the list of the agents that I have, and then it sends it to some other OPTIC instance. So I give it my OBM. It's obviously january@obsbuenablement.com. The OBM port is also going to be a default one, 443. Yes, please make sure that obsbuenablement.com is reachable. It is reachable. It's going to be 443. And then it's going to be, 1 second, OBM. Yes, OBM port, and it's going to be HTTPS default setting. Enter the agent that connect an integration user created on OPSB OBM. It's going to be admin. And then it's going to be port 31382, correct? And then the port is going to be 383, correct as well. External access host for SAAS. So that's going to be where the metrics are going. So they're going here. The port is going to be 30001. Okay, now it's going to be false, no proxy. And then the IDM admin user. Enter the password for the IDM admin user is going to be admin. Enter the password, right. So there's going to be the default password. We'll confirm it. And OBM RTSM. That it is. They want to proceed. I want to proceed. Yes. Enter the deployment name, default one, and there it goes. Now, it will save everything that it has into a file. And now what it will try to do, it will try to get into the OBM get everything that it needs, but the OBM would not recognize it because, well, OBM needs to trust the agent that sits here, right? In the meanwhile, let me connect to it with K9S just to see that everything is up. So once everything is up, it will try and reach out to the local OBM. This is where I need to approve the certificate because the AMC or the Monitoring Service Edge, they have their own agent. So once I approve the agent, then it will connect to my OBM, get the list of all of the machines with an agent, and then it will connect to the machines with an agent, grab their metrics, and send it to SAAS. And it will fail because my SAAS does not work on the port that we entered. Actually, it does. It works on 30001, but it will try to get on 30010. This is a typo, and it's a setting that we need to change manually in Kubernetes files, which is very exciting for this video. All right. Now I'll go. In the meanwhile, I'll duplicate this section, this tab, because I need to be connecting to the command line of my OPM server. Right, so it's gonna be Control R CD, and then it's gonna be SSH. And it's gonna be connecting to the local OBM command line. Okay, and then I need to make a couple of modifications. Okay, now I need to go and find the line that says BBC CB ports. So BBC CB ports, we will get to the end of it. This is a VI editor. And then I need to add a comma, add a public host name of my monitoring service 8 edge, and then say 31382, because it works on a custom port, so every custom port needs to be listed in here separately. Save our work. Okay, and now we can watch for pending certificate requests, but it wouldn't happen because you see the data broker is still trying to run. It will take it a few more minutes. Once it's up and running, then it will make its first attempt to connect and send the certificate request, which will capture through command line. Okay, there it is. The data broker is white, which means that it should be okay now. List pending, and there is our request. So to approve the request, what we need to do, we need to do an OVCM grant command. Basically, when you do it through the OBM UI, it tries to grant the certificate requests to the internal parameters of the agent that requests it. And in most cases, it's fine, but because we're in the cloud and every instance has an external and internal addresses, and then it has its own identification, or what it is considered itself to be. Is it considered itself to be the internal host name or the external host name? Those duplications are confusing in terms of what goes what and where. So when you do it with OVCM grant, over here with this command, you specify directly what is it that you want to do. What would be the granting done to what resource, to what machine, to what address. And we want it to be done for the external host name of this request. So we do that. Okay, and now the request was granted, and it will try to communicate. Now, what we can do about it? If we'll go to K9S, and we already do, we find the data broker, and now we will try to connect to the command line. So it's going to be here, command line of this one. We need to verify that the certificates were received. If you ever installed an agent, you will see that normally this would be empty until the certificate is approved. Once we approved it in OBM, it exchanged certificates with this agent, and now it has all of the nice certificates that are shared between the monitoring service edge and whatever machines are trusting our OBM. Meaning that when it will connect to agents, it will be successful. Okay. Now we need to fix something. We need to fix something because, you know what? We need to wait for it to be all up again before we modify anything. Because right now the auto configure job is doing extra work, trying to configure everything to be in one place. To make everything appropriate on the inside. It's basically the internal configuration mechanism that applies custom settings to the default components. So I don't want to interfere with it, but once it's done, when all of this is right, we will continue and we'll do our final edits so it would work. Okay, everything is up, so we will switch to services. And in services, we need to change those three item monitoring OA service definitions. No, it's not, sorry, not services, deployments. That was a different type of scenario. Right, deployments. Right, so when we modify deployment, this is basically the blueprint for the pods themselves. So all we need to do, we need to find 3010, and we need to edit it to be 301. Save, it will create a new pod based on it. So we go here, we go 300, we modify it 01. Oh, that's not what we intended to do. Yes, right quit. Third one, edit, find, edit 301, right quit. And now we'll switch back to pods. Once those three are up, we will be able to start verifying our work, right? So to do that, actually, let's let it run, and we need to download some tools. So I'll go ahead and I'll download this tool, and I'll change the user permissions. Now I need to set several permissions on this tool, like username and password. Oh, what? Okay, the password is saved. And then I'll get credentials. Let's see. Oh, there's no server. Where's the server? Yes, server. And then it's going to be https:// and then the EC2 instance name with the port of 31443. Trust the server certificate, yes. And now we can, now we can try and get credentials. Those are our credentials. Now let's get the target. Okay, it has two targets. One of them is OA, one other one is going to be RTSM. Now, RTSM is missing a slug over here. It is tuned to grab the metrics from classic deployment, but we need to switch it to be the containerized. So I'll export the targets into a file, targets YAML over here, right? So basically get the targets, but into a YAML form. And I'll edit the targets by adding the UCMDB server slug to it, right? Oh, it's not like this. We need to save our work. And then I'll update the file, basically upload the file to the monitoring definitions over here. And now we just need to wait. So when I get the collector, right, we need to get the status of the collector itself and the reporting. So it says, well, discovery succeeded, 3 nodes. So basically it found several servers over there, probably the BPM, the data flow probe that has an agent, and metric collection has succeeded. It was able to get it only from data flow probe because it's the only one that appears in OBM right now. And 2 nodes are a fail. Okay, now we need to check the performance of those metrics, right? So we will go to SAAS, to systems infrastructure. We need to reload the CIs. One of the CIs is going to be what it's called. It's going to be just the data flow probe, January, DFP January. So we are looking for a address that says, oh, come on, not refreshing me. 172 at the end, 172. So we say 172. Which one of them? Probably this one, right? So DFP January, very good. And let's switch to performance perspective to see the metrics that it collected. Now, the metrics will take some time to get there. Okay, it's trying to fetch them, but we will just create a new dashboard for it. And we're going to say OPTIC Data Lake. And let's see if it collected anything in the OPTIC Data Lake at the moment. If everything was working correctly, then it should be able to fetch the data. And there it is. This is actual data. So this is the proof that it even exists, right? What was it? The util, I think, right? CPU guessed util. Would it show anything? Right, and it doesn't, well, it has the metrics. It doesn't have enough data to show us here as points. And for this, we're not going to wait because we got our proof that it works because it was able to see metrics in SAAS, metrics that did not exist over here. This is the first time that we forwarded them anyway, and they appear. So the next step would be to wait like 15 minutes until we will see some specific points in the graph. But that would be like what data collected or what points were forwarded. But the data itself is collected. So this is how the monitoring service edge works. And our next exercise would be actually very cool because while monitoring service edge is basically grabbing the metrics and sends them to OPTIC and it's using all of the default settings and everything is fine. Next time, we will be collecting custom data that is not out of the box, data that doesn't have tables in OPTIC. So tables will be created, data would be shaped, and this data would manifest itself in all kinds of places where you need it to be in OBM and BVD. So yeah, wait for this one. See you then.